Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Let's Go Racing Motorsports Report. I am Mike Babicz, your host, and during the racing season, pretty much the voice of the 1175 Sports Complex and Eatery, IRA Lightning Sprints, and most of the Autometer powered by Gandrid Performance Wisconsin wingless sprint car events. Believe it or not, this is our last show of 2025. Where'd the year go? One thing we definitely want to do, though, is thank the folks that got us on the air all this season. B&L Office Furniture, Scott Carpenter, that provided us this in-home studio, did a great job. Really appreciate that, Scott. Game Day Men's Health of Libertyville and soon to be of Kenosha / Pleasant Prairie. Steve Sinclair and the Bumper to Bumper IRA Outlaw Sprint Car Series. Great Lakes Dragaway that does a great job up there, and they're still trying to get a little racing in. So hopefully Mother Nature cooperates a little bit in the next few weeks, and they'll still have some racing up there. Pink Roofing, Whitmore's Towing and Recovery Services, Fox Lake Harbor, Force One Performance Parts, the Hunt Club of Richmond. Bob and Sally do a great job there. Bumper to Bumper of Midwest, Bodycraft of Antioch, Mark and Tony Maglio, MLS Auto Clinic, Eddie and Debbie Boyd, and they also do a lot for the Stars and Stripes and Lake County Honor Flights. Lake County Hose and Equipment, Bill Fusting, who became a new grandpa a week ago. We thought he might have it, or not him have it, but we thought that it might come during the show, but it came Friday morning, so congratulations to Bill and Kim on being new grandparents. Hartnell Chevrolet, Culvers of Paddock Lake, Jack's Helmets, Jack Eschbach, Kaylee Burns, a Revel Bell Salon in Kansasville, the Midwest Motor Coach and Olson Transportation. They do a great job helping out the Lake County Honor Flight, safely get the veterans from North Chicago up to Mitchell Airport and back to North Chicago. A-Main Apparel and Diecast, Garrett Tennyson, Thomas Guard IT, John Hatterline, Attorney at Law, Cabins on the Lake of Friendship, Wisconsin, 5-Star Race Car Bodies, Daniel Sanchez that handles their marketing, and Carl and Corey Schultz that own that fine business. Dr. Tooth, Ken Johnson of Antioch. Yep, he's my official dentist. And he's always taking on new clients. If somebody needs some dental work, give him a call. Dr. Tooth, Ken Johnson in Antioch. Pro Painting of Antioch did a great job on our house here, and also Prestige Paving and seal coating, that is, Specialty Fence, and Bison's Tree Service. So we want to thank all those folks that worked with us in 2025. You'll probably be hearing from either Kent or myself for 2026, and we'll be on the air starting again sometime in the spring. More than likely April, possibly March, but more than likely the first part of April we'll be hitting the airwaves again. You can watch past best of shows during the winter, and you can always watch any of our shows that have been archived when it's cold and you're sitting there in front of the fireplace and want to listen to some racing talk. Tune in to any of our archive shows as well, and we might, if need be, jump on with a special edition, and we'll get that word out to you on Facebook and some of the websites in the area. And now we're going to bring in one of the guys that's been with us on just about every show, John Reidenbach. John is from Great Lakes Dragaway and gives us our weekly reports. Do we have John yet, Kent? And Kent will tell me yes or no.
Yep.
And there he is.
Yeah, I made it this week.
Yeah. And you've got your pumpkin right behind you. Your orange is all ready for tomorrow.
Getting ready, you bet.
Well, Mother Nature did take a little turn south now recently. It's gotten a little chillier out, and even though it's normal fall weather, temperatures in the 50s, 30s at night, that's not real conducive to any kind of racing except maybe snowmobiles. So what's happening at Great Lakes Dragway, John?
Well, they did have their last ladies' night, and Kristen, she won the ladies' race in the Battle of the Sexes. However, they came up a few races short from winning the Battle of the Sexes. So the men ended up taking the crown this year over the women. But when they did the last one last night, they did a pretty good. They had a little Halloween bash with everybody kind of dressed up and everything, so it was pretty neat. And we've been out there. I was out there last Sunday. I raced because the weather was pretty decent, and it was crazy. We had over 160 racers out there. And like you say, with the weather, it makes it kind of tough because when the track temperature doesn't get that warm, a lot of guys come out there with their street cars. And one of the things with the street cars is if they don't have them running and they're hot, if they're sitting in the staging lanes like they do when there's a lot of cars, when they go to take off, they usually dump about a half a gallon of water out of the exhaust pipe. So that I feel bad for Kevin that's on the starting line because he's got to mop it up every time after. So, yeah, I put a different transmission in my car, and I thought I'd test it out Sunday, and the transmission worked good. But when the track temperature is that cold and you got a lot of street cars, it makes it kind of tough.
Yeah, and I don't know if you heard my earlier announcement. Billy Fusting and his wife Kim have become grandparents again. And the baby came last Friday. Bill thought it might come Thursday, but it didn't.
Yeah.
The baby decided to wait.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they got another baby boy grandson. So congratulations goes out to him. And who knows, maybe we'll have another generation of Fustings racing in a few years.
Sure.
So, I know that when we've been talking the last few weeks, you said it's all been conducive on weather. Yeah. Has Randy decided to say, okay, we're done for 2025? I'm going south where it's warmer, or is he hanging in there?
No, actually, this is the last full week that we're open during the week. So tomorrow, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, they'll be open. And then after this weekend, it'll be weekend operations only. And like tomorrow, they're going to be open from like 3 o'clock to 8 o'clock. Try to start a little bit earlier because as it gets dark out, the track starts getting cold and it starts to go away and the dew starts setting in. So a little bit earlier for tomorrow. And then this weekend, like I say, it's usually busy during the weekends. Like I say, last weekend, Sunday, it was crazy, 160 cars. But then they'll do weekend operations until they start salting the roads. Once they start salting the roads and it starts getting bad, then they'll shut it down for the year. But they have been busy working on the schedule for next year. We've got our races already scheduled at Great Lakes Dragway for our group, the Bruce City Gassers, and some of the other special events, for like the Time Machine Nationals and that. And one of the things I'd like to mention is they do have season passes available for 2026 now, which is a great way if you want to go out to the track. They have spectator passes, racer passes, racer plus one, family passes. It's a great deal if you want to go out there, especially during some of the big weekends, where it's kind of expensive to get a lot of the professional teams in and a lot of those race cars. It's a really good deal for somebody that wants to go out there. And it's a great place to hang out.
We ran into another one of the Bruce City Gassers, got to see his car, Vince Haywood.
Oh, yeah.
He had it out at the Illinois Stock Car Hall of Fame event last Saturday that my wife Kathy and I took a ride out to. And it was really great to run into him and talk some racing with him. Hadn't seen him for a while, and he's got a beautiful looking machine. They had their induction of Larry Schuler, Bill Venturini, the late Elmer Musgrave, Bob Pierce, and a lifetime achievement honors went to Larry Robbs. And also John and Sue McCarnes were remembered by their actual brick they have in the wall was dedicated. And Greg and Angie McCarnes were the grand marshals of the parade. Haywood actually drove his car on the street in the parade route. That's the parade they put on.
Yeah.
and it is pretty cool. The actual race cars are driven through a route in Roscoe. We had to get back for something else, so we didn't get to stay for the parade. But I saw some videos of it later, and it's a pretty cool event. And they kind of dodged the raindrops a little bit. It sprinkled a few times and misted, and then the sun came out for a little bit. But that's a great event. John, have you ever been to that Hall of Fame out there?
No, I haven't. I know Vince told me that he was going out there, and I thought that was pretty cool that he's, got invited and brought his car out there. That was pretty neat. But I haven't been out to that one yet. But, like you said, with him driving it on the street, that's one of the things we do with our out of sight drags. We do a Saturday morning, we call it a rumble run, where we actually have him go, we get drive down into downtown Union Grove, turn around at the high school, and then come drive back into the track. And it's kind of neat. Throw out candy for the kids and stuff on the side of the streets, and it's a good time.
Yeah. Well, when you get a chance, go and check out that Hall of Fame. And then another Hall of Fame that's going to have their induction this week is the Southeastern Wisconsin Short Track Hall of Fame. And it's going to be Brad Dahmer, Ted Dolan, Harry Neitzel, the late Harry Neitzel, Kenny Richards, Donnie Scheffler are going to be inducted, and a special dedication to Motorsports Award to the late Glenn Hefner and the Hefner family, and contribution to short track racing to Joe Buch. So that'll all be on this Saturday, November the 1st, up there in Hartford, Wisconsin. Tickets are $25. You can get them at the door, but Dick Melius is kind of overseeing that. And if you're not going to be able to pay in advance between now and Saturday, just drop him an email so so he's got you on the list. That is also just a fantastic Hall of Fame. And both Hall of Fames have more than racing in them, which is really cool. I mean, there is a steam locomotive, John, that actually still works. It's in the Southeastern Wisconsin Hall. And they take it out at Christmas time and make a Christmas run through a few towns. I think they get as far south as around East Troy. And then
that's neat.
Turn it around and take it back north. And once they get back up there, they get it inside, and it's inside all year, and you can see it. It's really pretty cool. So, there's a lot of things to do in the off season.
Yeah. I just got done. I put my race car away for the winter. I put the other transmission in it. It works good. So then I just kind of flog the cylinders and back off the valves and put it on some flat spot eliminators up on my rack and put a cover on it and put it to bed till next spring.
There you go. Speaking of next spring, does Great Lakes have a tentative opening date for 2026?
Not exactly. It's kind of flexible. It depends on what the weather does. They will open in March, sometime in March, if the weather permitting. If we had a mild, early, easy spring, we would probably do a couple, like a soft opening in March and on the weekends, and see how it goes. And then usually in April, when April starts, it's pretty much all hands on deck, and it's usually 6-day operations.
Yeah, that's for sure. And overall, was it a good year for the dragway? Weather seemed pretty much on our side this year for the most part.
Yeah, it was. It was a pretty good year. It was kind of neat this year getting that Funny Car Chaos in there, which incidentally they will be back for 2026. Different time of the year, but they'll be back. And some of the Wisconsin Outlaw Series was really pretty good. We did have them guys had a couple of the races got kind of cut short by rain, but for the most part, it wasn't too bad. But, this summer was a hot, humid summer all over the place, it seemed like, so didn't matter where you were racing. We were sweating the whole time. So it was pretty good. Labor Day was really, really good. So, and like I say, last Sunday, there's 160 some test and tune racers, which is pretty neat. So
now you said you put your car away. Do any of the racers from Great Lakes take their cars and go south and run like in Florida or one of the warmer states during the winter? Or?
No, not pretty much. Most of our guys are, one of our guys just competed in that two of our guys actually competed in that Six Smokies event where they were down in the Smoky Mountains and they went through the tail of the dragon. So they do a drag and drive event. So Dean Trowbridge and Adam Kerr, they both started out and completed the whole thing, the whole race, which Adam, he's a trooper. He drove down there from from Trevor, drove down there to Tennessee and then did the whole route and came back. I think he put 2,600 miles on his car. And Dean towed his down there and then ran it around there, and they had 900 some miles, but they both did really, really well. And it's something that they wanted to do. And, but pretty much, I think a couple of our guys that go down to Florida, they could probably do that, but it's usually that's the time to rebuild everything and get everything going for next season.
And have a little R&R. You don't mind going as a spectator when you go south in the wintertime.
Right. Yeah, we had did a lot of traveling this year. Had a lot of events on the calendar. It looks like next year's going to be pretty busy for us also.
Okay, well, and again, now where can folks go to keep track on what the schedule might be like when Randy decides he's going to release it? Where should they go and take a look? And if they want to try to sneak in another run or two before the snow flies, where can they find that out?
Best thing to do, as far as with the tracks open day to day, it would be to go on their Facebook page, Great Lakes Dragway, because they update that pretty regularly. The schedule will probably be released first on the website, greatlakesdragway.com. And best thing to do, or give Randy a call, 262-878-3783. He'll give you he'll answer the phone there and tell you what's going on. Every time I go in there on the weekends to kind of visit with him a little bit, he's on that phone quite a bit. That thing is kind of crazy how much that phone rings during the week.
Yeah, well, that's great. And, credit to him that he answers his own phone. He doesn't have a recording. He doesn't have anything like that. And he answers his own phone, and he'll get it straight from the horse's mouth, right?
Yeah. And also during the off season too, usually during the weekends, they'll have the store open if people want to come in and get a season pass or racing pass. Normally what they do is they discount the season passes or the racer passes before the end of the year. If you get them before the end of the year, there's a little bit of a discount. And that's kind of what helps pay for the improvements on the off season and do some of the things when the track is not open.
All right. Well, appreciate you being on with us all year long here. We are planning on, we're going to kind of take a hiatus probably till maybe the end of March, first part of April.
Sure.
Unless there's some major thing that we got to, break in and announce, then we may have a special show that we'll get the word out. But John, appreciate your help and your support and getting guests on. I mean, it was a lot of fun because sometimes, the screen would come up here on the podcast and you'd have, a couple of people behind you or next to you.
Yeah. If I'm out at the track and people want to do it, at the time there, I'll try to get them on, see if they want to go on. But some of them, like Kristen, I was trying to get her on because she's been doing really, really well. But I'm like, it's not that big of a deal. I'll try to get her on there for next year. And then also, usually January 1st, they do their Pinewood Derby out in the pavilion. So that's something else too for the guys that want to bring out their little Pinewood Derby cars. That's they turn the furnace on and the wood stove on there and they race. So it's just kind of a neat way to visit some of the racing family on the off season, in the middle of winter and that. So it's something to do.
Yeah, that's for sure. Well, John, best of to you and yours, and please pass it along to Randy and his family for a wonderful holiday season, Thanksgiving coming up, and everything else, and the Christmas time, and then of course the new year, and then we'll turn the page on another year in auto racing, right?
You bet.
Thanks again, John. Take care.
Yeah, always a pleasure talking to you, Mike, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right, sounds good. Thank you very much, John. Take care.
You're welcome. Bye.
Bye. And that was John Reidenbach joining us from Great Lakes Dragway. Appreciate his help and giving us some drag racing updates each and every week on the Let's Go Racing Motorsports Report. And appreciate Randy's support from Great Lakes Dragway. They have a sign very similar to the one that's right behind me that Impressions Count did for us. And we certainly do thank Randy and his crew at Impressions Count for all of their support. But there's a sign just like this one that is prominently displayed right near the return lanes of Great Lakes Dragway, right near the tower. So it's kind of neat when I go up there and see that. We're going to bring a young guy into the studio now. He's got a little bit different view on racing. Dakota Tennyson, affectionately known as Cody. whether someone's calling him because they like him or they're angry at him, it's still Cody. Cody, welcome to the program, and I know that you're your primary focus is My Race Pass, which has just really changed the world of short track racing from the way it was when I first started in racing back in 1977. We didn't have any My Race Pass. We didn't have too many transponders. It was all pen, pencil, and a sheet of paper, and that's how you scored. And lineups were put up, even to get them lined back up, they were put on a dry erase board and shown to the drivers. And now it's a different world. So first of all, welcome to the program, and thank you for all your help for me when I'm on a microphone, because you do a great job keeping me updated as well. But tell the folks a little bit about what, in your view, has changed in the world of auto racing in the time you've been involved.
Well, that's a really good question. A lot. As you're well aware, basically my entire life, everything's changed significantly in the last 30 years. So growing up with a race car in the garage there, and seeing kind of the old way things were done, and then moving forward as Mom got more involved and started scoring herself, and then kind of fast forward to that 2012 timeline was when MRP in its current creation or incarnation kind of started. Prior to that, it was called driverwebsites.com. So Josh and his two business partners, Ross and Zach, it's kind of the same, the same people, but the websites over MRP. But they changed the business name, as things started to expand, which is all right in that same timeline. Instead of just focusing on driver websites, they started working on track and series websites, and then in the back end of that came along the race management program, and that kind of changed the entire landscape. Right? So just kind of exactly what you mentioned, between things like MRP with being an app that we can front face all of this basic information for people. Couple that with things like the Receiver, which I'm not, obviously directly involved with that at all, but obviously using that every weekend and being able to remind drivers up via the radios and things of that nature. It's extremely different from what I remember seeing starting around 4, 5, 6 years old and moving up to now 32. It's a big difference in a fairly short time period. Really, racing didn't really have a massive acceleration of change like that until the last 15 years, 15, 20 years.
Well, and you are still a little muffled, so I don't know if you can get your mic a little closer to you. I mean, you come and go.
Fair enough.
Well, no, that sounds a little better. I don't know if you got closer to your mic or what, but but yeah, I mean, and the one-way communication with drivers is that has really changed how long it takes to get a race line back up under a caution or even under a red. It is interesting. Sometimes the drivers don't agree with what they're being told on on Receiver, but there's ways to deal with that too if they don't want to get where they belong.
Yeah, no, you're definitely right. It is an interesting boat, but you are somewhat relying on that relationship that you have with the drivers, because you can't force them, right? I can't be in the car with them and tell them exactly what to do. But I think that's something that over the last 15-ish years that I've been more heavily involved on the scoring and officiating side of things that I've learned. A young person learning kind of situation of building that relationship with the drivers to the point where, they know I'm not there to do something negative towards them or put them in a bad spot. I'm sure you've seen that depending on the race director you're dealing with or the scorer you're sitting next to. Sometimes they hear a certain voice and they just immediately listen. And I've gotten pretty lucky, especially on the IRA front, whether that's the wingless or the mini sprints or the 410 side. The drivers are pretty respectful of what I'm asking them to do, and it's a two-way street. I don't hide anything from them. So if they have a question, about a lineup and they think it was wrong, we do what we got to do to get them in place for the moment. right there over the radio to all 24 guys that are out there. And if you want to see the files afterwards, please come see me. We're happy to show you. That's kind of one of the cool things about where the technology is. It's much easier to show people things like that and be able to show them why something is the way that it was. Not that you couldn't do that with the pen and paper, but let's face it, you saw some scoring sheets back in the day. They weren't pretty to read. You kind of had to know what the hieroglyphs were.
It was definitely interesting sometimes. And yes, you're right. After the races, when I was working at Waukegan Speedway and Gas Up Alley, I'd have to dish out, well, here, right here, this is where you were. Right here, this is where you went down a lap. and one thing back in those days, it isn't like with the IRA now, whereas if the yellow comes out, certain number of drivers or whatever get their lap back. Nobody ever got their lap back when I started. It's like you went down a lap, you're down a lap, and if you can get it back by passing everybody, okay. Otherwise, you ain't getting it back.
Right. Yeah, that's one of the ones that's actually really interesting in all the different things that I end up. So the full-time job being the MRP side, and then kind of the next biggest thing being the IRA side of life. Outside of that, I still get hired for a lot of other events to be involved with and restore, officiate, and different forums. Seeing the just vast different sets of rules across the country and different types of racing, that's very interesting. And again, things like the MRP platform or digital platforms in general start to make some more of that. I don't want to say possible, but make it easier, and then it's easier for people to understand what's happening and why. I definitely have scored stuff where people don't get a lap back. I've scored stuff where we don't take lap cars out. I've scored stuff where we do. Ones where only one car gets a lap back. Ones where everybody gets a lap back. It's a wild, vast difference of things. So it's really interesting in that respect. And obviously the digital platforms start to make other things plausible too. So, things like broadcasts, the data that people see on a screen, that's coming from the transponder systems. That's coming from MRP's lineups or the results. And without those things being in place, things like broadcast of what we know them today wouldn't be what they are.
Right. Yeah. How many, I know that sometimes you're at a particular track, with the IRA. Maybe you're in Plymouth, Wisconsin. But I have seen you many times get phone calls on your cell phone from tracks all over the country that all of a sudden somebody's got a problem and you're the troubleshooter for them while you're shuffling, the deck of what's happening in front of you and trying to fix their problem wherever they may be. How many tracks do you have contact with during the course of the year?
So the number we typically use in MRP is somewhere north of 900 track series of promoters across the board. That doesn't mean that's 900 tracks. That's why we say series of promoters, because it is more than just the one. But there's very few tracks in the country that I'm not working with on some level at different times. And actually, we're in the middle of a very large Australian expansion. So, doing just as much stuff working on with Aussie tracks and on a different timeline with that stuff too. So, it's interesting. It's really rewarding and kind of gratifying, although sometimes it can get a little wild. You've obviously seen the phone call ones, but maybe you haven't looked over at the computer screen. But I've also got another, window up where I'm texting somebody while I'm scoring a race, and then I've got another chat window with work items going on too. So, on top of the IRA nights, there's also another window that pops up on the screen for all the broadcast stuff. So if anything's going wrong or haywire there, that's where Dylan and Jeff and all of us are in to make sure we can take care of problems. It's all the craziness that happens behind the scenes that nobody sees.
Yeah, and I had George Bowman on last week, who is retired. He's turned 80, and he's decided I keep telling him, I know I'm going to see you somewhere with a microphone in your hand next year. And he said, you probably will, but he says, I just don't want to have to be anywhere every week or every race night or anything like that. But he was remarking that when we were there for the sprint car championships, the last weekend in September, George goes, I opened the door to the tower there in Plymouth, and he goes, there were 12 people sitting at the counter, and every one of them had a laptop. And I said, yeah, that's why I went in there, did my announcement, I went out and sat outside.
That's one of those things. It can be done with less. Don't get me wrong. We definitely have more things usually in front of us than we actually need to have. But like Plymouth is a great example. I spend a lot of time with them, working on helping them train some new people. So I don't know how familiar you are with people that are in that tower usually, but Crystal and Abby that are there with me all the time, we're consistently working together to train them on different parts of the systems and get them into a really, really good place. And Plymouth is one of the best places that I know of across the country, not just in our area, as far as having some good young, much younger than me talent to come to work on some of this stuff. There's a lot of parts and pieces, and it's not easy to find people that are ready to deal with very stressful situations on a weekly basis and potentially do beyond that. But unfortunately, racetracks are high stress situations, and you got to find people that are ready for that. So it's fun and it's interesting, and Plymouth is one that I really enjoy to work with them and keep moving forward. And, Abby and Crystal both are probably going to be ones you're going to be seeing a whole lot more of over the next few years, as long as you keep announcing things. They're definitely going to be two people that are going to help me with getting different parts of things done around.
Now, I have seen nights where just in the IRA,
mm-hmm.
the Lightnings were one place, let's say Sycamore,
mm-hmm.
the Wingless were somewhere else, let's say maybe mm-hmm. Wilmot, and the 410s were in Minnesota. And you're kind of keeping an eye on all three, trying to make sure everything's working right. And they always say there's somebody behind the scenes. Well, your mother is behind the scenes a lot on nights like that, because she makes sure the lineups are the way they should be at the tracks that you're not at.
Mom is a big part of that stuff, and not everybody necessarily realizes it or sees it right away, but drivers certainly know it. I absolutely know it. Mom is there at home a lot of times. She does come to the track still, but between some different health things, just getting older and being a grandparent at this point, my brother's daughter, she doesn't go to the track as much, but she's able to still be involved in because of all these digital systems and these different parts of things. So she is able to set lineups from afar, which is very common for the Wingless Lightning Sprint front. And sometimes even, on nights where we've got all three series in one location, those are some of the most stressful for me. She's doing lineups for those two still on those nights even, just so that I can make sure that things are okay on the 410 side. Not because the Wingless and the Lightning Sprint don't matter, but because the biggest amount of eyeballs is on that 410 side. So handling that in the moment, having her kind of work on those other couple helps me out tremendously. And in a lot of ways, it's quite fun and quite neat to be able to work, A, to make things work from afar, and B, be able to still do those things with family. It's kind of where all of this started. Obviously, my family lineage goes back quite a ways there, and Mom started scoring basically because Peggy Irwin's eyes got screwed up one night, and needed somebody to go in the tower with Shane Steph to get a shot a night. So that's how Mom started scoring, which is because we had her car at the track. And then Travis started racing. My uncle, simply because we're dogs in the long stream of things. So he helped out Donald for a long time. And when Donald was driving for Bob Walden, he had I think it's an 85 Gambler. It's set up in the rafters right inside the garage door. One day, Trav looked over at Bob and goes, one day I'd really like to drive that. Trav showed up at the shop the next day, and Bob had it on the ground with a box of parts and said, build it and drive it. That's kind of how it all started. So it is neat that still in 25, even without everybody being able to be at the track every weekend together, we're still involved and taking care of all these things.
Now, if there's a young person out there, I mean, 32, you're young compared to us guys with gray hair. But what advice would you have for a young person, whether they be in junior high, high school, maybe even college, trade school, or whatever? Gee, they like auto racing, they want to get involved in it. What would you recommend to them if they want to try to see what it's like in the part that you are in, the scoring, the behind the scenes lineups, all that kind of stuff? What would you recommend to them?
Really, pretty simply, just reach out. Whether that's to me or to a track that's close to you, reach out. So express your interest. But the biggest thing is go into it knowing that it is a high stress environment and that it is long days. That's usually the two items that scare people away the fastest. Plain and simple, racing is high stress. The people officiating racing and making it go nice and smooth are getting some of the largest volume of that stress. That is something that you got to be prepared to be able to handle. And knowing that it's a long day. Typically, I get to most racetracks at noon. I typically leave in between 11 and 1, and 11, how the night goes and what all has to happen. So as long as you're prepared for those two items, reach out. Just reach out to people, ask for some interest. There's certain facilities and certain places are going to be a lot easier to show people different things than others. You've been in plenty of towers that have been very, very small, so it's hard to get an extra body in there. While we've got others, the current Walmart Tower is fairly roomy and it's actually pretty good for that training, teaching kind of situation. So just reaching out and getting involved on that level, trying to understand it and showing interest.
Okay, and now we're the end of October, and how much more racing does Dakota have between now and the time the IRA tracks open up in April?
Personally, I don't have a ton. For the rest of this year, we get into what we refer to as effectively trade show season. I have a Wisconsin promoters meeting on the 11th of November. I go to Portland for a Western Promoters Association meeting on the 20th of November, and then the Dome, and then PRI in Indianapolis. So not a ton personally. After PRI, I don't truthfully know at this point. There's about 5 or 6 other trade shows that are possible I could end up being at. Obviously, Florida's a big factor, Georgia. So there's quite a bit of different things. But through the end of the year, the only thing I really have left to score is the Dome, provided nobody calls and says, hey, we've got a problem. Can you help?
All righty. Well, Dakota, we've really appreciated you taking the time to join us tonight. And I said it in the beginning, I really sincerely thank you for all the help you've given me over the years. I was amazed. You were surprised at how old I was. I was surprised at how young you were when we talked about that one night. And I'll tell you, just keep doing the great work that you are. Again, my blessings to you and your entire family. You guys have always been supportive of our program here, and also the car show. And it's going to be in June. It's going to be warmer. I swear it's going to be warmer on June 15th on Father's Day. It's got to be. So that's what we're going to shoot for this year. So hopefully you won't have a race that night. You'll be able to come down to the lakefront and join us. So again, thanks again, Cody. The best to you and the family for Thanksgiving coming up and Christmas and New Year's. And I know we're going to see you in a couple of weeks because December 6th is the Wilmot banquet, right? Or not Wilmot, IRA banquet.
December 6th is the IRA banquet. I will not be there, and neither will Garrett. That is the Saturday night of the Dome. So that's the indoor late model race in St. Louis, which, because that overlaps with Snowball Derby, I'm now the lead scorer on that Saturday night of that event.
So you'll be working that night. We won't get to see you. Well, That's all right. We'll be thinking about you.
Awesome. Well,
While you're, hopefully it's not snowing on December 6th and it's, 90 degrees where you're at.
Hopefully it won't be that day.
All right. Thanks a lot, Cody. Take care. God bless, buddy.
You too. Thank you, Mike.
And that was Dakota Tennyson, who's really an up-and-coming young man doing a lot for auto racing, the IRA in particular, but a lot of other racing as well. And now we're going to talk about people young and up-and-coming. We're going to bring into the studio Greg McCarnes, second-generation promoter, learned from what I would consider the best in the business. Is his late father, John, and his mom, Sue. Greg, welcome to the program, and congratulations on last Saturday. That was my first time ever being at the Hall of Fame there in Roscoe, and I was blown away. It was amazing.
The Illinois Stock Car Hall of Fame is quite the deal, and it's kind of a hidden treasure in short track racing. But just the everything it's historic auto attractions in Roscoe, Illinois, is where it's housed, and it's one of my favorite places in the country, if not the world. It's so cool, all the memorabilia and history and how everything's tied together. It's always fun to get there. And I got to say, this is a first for me. It's or maybe not a first, but it's rare. There's actually someone on the podcast tonight that's busier than I am. Dakota's just unbelievable. All the things he does, and he helps us out, obviously, at Angel Park and anywhere else that we ask. And he's just the industry is lucky to have a young guy like that getting ready to take the reins for years to come. So pretty cool that you had him on tonight.
Yeah, well, I was glad I was finally able to get him when he wasn't working somewhere.
He's constantly on the go, so it's great to see his career taking shape and getting to see is going to be a bright future for him and for a lot of these quote unquote young guys, because I'm not the young guy anymore.
Yeah. Well, first of all, folks that might not be familiar with your background, I certainly am, because if it weren't for your mom and dad, particularly kind of your dad, I wouldn't be sitting here, because when he decided to go full-time with ArtGo, the position opened up at Waukegan, and Gordy Sill brought me in as the PR guy, and I did PR scoring, prepped the track once we went dirt, cleaned the bathrooms, you name it. I did it at Waukegan.
That was really cool too. Last Saturday, how you had your old Waukegan jersey on, or official uniform. So pretty cool throwback that you broke out there.
Yep, I've still got it, and I've also got, but the T-shirt's getting a little tight on me. I've got a T-shirt with Waukegan Speedway on the back, and some kind of artwork of race cars on the front. I can't even remember what's on the front. I just know it's Waukegan Speedway on the back.
Your old shirt is better than mine do, so.
Yeah. Well, tell the folks, though, a little bit about how Greg McCarnes got started in auto racing. I know kind of how, but let them hear it from you.
Yeah, my parents ran the ArtGo Challenge Series, and basically my dad and Art Frigo started that in 1975. And when my mom was in the hospital, February of 79, they signed the paperwork to purchase ArtGo from Art Frigo, and I was born days later. So really born into it. So my upbringing was the ArtGo shows, and then Midwest Enduro Series, and then went into La Crosse Fairgrounds Speedway. My parents and the Deary family had the lease on that, so that was my job during high school. During the summers, was mowing the yard and painting the walls and cleaning the bathrooms and picking the garbage and all that. But I really learned the business of short track weekly racing from Chuck Deary up there, and that progressed into going to school in La Crosse, where I met my wife Angie, and then we ran the Lebanon I-44 Speedway, then Elko Speedway, Rockford Speedway for 10 years, and then we purchased Madison International Speedway. heading into the 2015 season, as well as the at that time ARCA Midwest Tour, now ASA Midwest Tour, and we started GA Promotions. So we promote quite a few of the Midwest Tour events. We sold that series heading into 23, but still continue to promote the majority of those events year after year. And kind of what led into that was we took over Angel Park on heading into 2021. GA Promotions did, and we've had Austin Wells, who now runs lacrosse for us. Brian that works for us was there. Alex Gilhart, who's working for ASA, he's been there. So we've had some younger guys come through and try to use that as a training ground. So right now our summers are Friday nights at Madison, Saturday nights at Lacrosse or a Midwest Tour show, and Sundays at Angel Park, plus 2 Thursdays a month doing street drags at Madison and Lacrosse. And if we're not there, we're usually at Kakana eating hand-dipped ice cream on a Thursday night. So kind of all told, we were 115 events that we were some way, shape, or form involved in last summer, and 2026 looks to not slow down at all.
Well, that's good to hear. That's good to hear. Now, what about your family? Anybody that's coming up out of your family that's getting into racing or has already been in racing?
Well, it's hard to have we call it Madison as our family farm, and the kids were getting older when we bought it, and so they've worked there really from day one. Angie runs the concessions. We always say she runs everything outside the wheel fence. I handle everything inside the wheel fence on a race night. So she handles everything from the front gate and hospitality parties and all those things, and I'm more the competition side of it. So that works out well. And our son Al is going to graduate here in May from University of Wisconsin lacrosse. Our daughter's going to Whitewater. She's probably the best popcorn maker in the family. Al might dispute that, but Al went and he worked at Worldwide Technology Raceway for a summer with Chris Blair and that team down there. And, they do NASCAR Cup races and IndyCar and NHRA and Formula Drift. And it was a great experience for him. We're not sure where his exact future holds, but right now the trajectory is that he'll end up taking over our family businesses. And we'll see how, if and when Evie wants to be a part of it. Not leaning that way right now, but neither kid has to, but the sport is a bit addicting, and our family has quite the history with it. So we'll see how it all shakes out, but looks like we got one for sure and possibly two. So third generation coming at us.
There you go. Well, that's fantastic. That is just really fantastic. What are some of the biggest changes you've seen? I gave Dakota the same question. Of course, he's a little younger than we are, but he's still seen changes in his short time in racing. What changes have you seen in the short track world from when you started, or even when mom and dad had it, from stories mom or dad told you?
Yeah, it's a completely different world, how people observe and digest racing, whether it be the races themselves or the race results or the publicity before an event. Obviously, social media's changed a lot. Streaming's changed that a lot. My parents used to run everything out of the back of a conversion van, or at the start it was a Cordoba, and then that became a station wagon, and then that became a minivan, and then that became a conversion van. So I guess things were growing then too. We used to have to carry a satellite dish and cinder blocks and a big computer monitor and what have you from event to event, because Dad found DTN, which was a weather service for farmers. I had to set that up at every show, and now we have it in our pocket, so that's kind of cool. And Dad used to have to call an 800 number to record the results, and it would usually be about 1 a.m. when we finally got back to the hotel. So it's just amazing. Like I laugh because we'll need a poster made, and I can ask Scott Lofquist, who does all of our design work. I'm like, hey, I need a poster for Grundy. And within an hour, I have a poster, and the cars are cut out, and the drivers' faces, and the sponsor logos, and all that. And my dad used to have to spend, days, if not weeks, at Vercotter Publishing in Chilton, Wisconsin, getting all that stuff laid out months in advance. And I can, with a touch of a mouse button, I can sit at the print shop and have it picked up in an hour and be heading to the races. So like a lot of times I'll wait if we're trying to do a Kakana show. Like Dad would have to have Bobby Allison signed, a month and a half in advance, whereas Kyle Busch a few years ago just decided he was going to show up a week and a half out, and we were able to turn the ad and print it and hand it out on a Thursday night. Printed it Thursday, handed it out Thursday night, and so I feel pretty blessed with how quick we're able to do some of those things. And then obviously the on track with the receivers is such a huge tool that the tracks can use, whether it's at Angel Park or Madison, or you watch the Chili Bowl and watch the relines. It's absolutely amazing how quick we can get cars relined up, and we don't have to have people out on the track directing and spreading cars and all. We actually bought receivers for our 6-cylinder class at Madison just to help speed the show up. So things like that and the transponders. I'm an old line scorer, but watching the computer do the work and keep track of everything's pretty nice too. So especially when you need to go back. So yeah, it's everything changes. The haulers get bigger, and the race cars are luckily the safety's come a long ways too from where it's at. We're actually building a graveyard, Midwest race car graveyard at MIS. So we have about 10 acres of woods, and we donated a car. The Holzhausens, who are in the La Crosse area, they had 3 matching cars, and one of the cars, Brian Holzhausen, the 787 Ford Thunderbird, was found at a farm about 8 miles north of La Crosse, and the Artco sticker, my parents' business, was still on there, and he took a picture of it and sent it to me on Twitter, and about 12 seconds later, Dale Jr. messages me and goes, "What are you doing with that car?" And we ended up donating it to Dale Jr.'s graveyard, and Chuck Geary and I were just out there in February and stopped in to see the car out in the woods. We dropped it off but never got to see it in the woods. So we stopped and saw it, and then we drove to Daytona from there, and we got talking, and next thing you know, the graveyard got developed for Madison. So far we have a really cool 57 Chevy that the Nottestead family donated, and it was Howie Leto and Door's first build, and then we just got a 72 Howe second design late model, and we believe it won a track championship at Wilmot in '73. So we're trying to research that. We have a sprint car chassis that it actually won when Madison was a half-mile dirt oval, Impact Speedway. It won one week and then got destroyed the next week. So it's cool. All these cars are coming in. The Rockford Speedway road sign just got donated this week, and Rick Corso's donating a car, and we got a few others that are in the wings. So that's a kind of a fun project that we're working on. It's racing, but it's outside of racing, and kind of a fun hobby, so to speak.
Well, and sometimes I think, remembering where you came from, helping people today understand what racing was like 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago. Wilmot just finished its 75th anniversary season. Actually, since you mentioned that you're trying to have some help on that 73, I think we can talk offline. I can probably dig some stuff up for you, because I got a few things from Wilmot and right behind me here. So I can probably dig in there. Might be able to find something for you. But one thing I would ask is, flow racing, dirt vision, regular television coverage. Is that something you think that is hurting short track racing, or is it helping?
It's kind of a double-edged sword, because there are some events that it helps. It's definitely, the streaming of the Snowball Derby has really put that event on the map. It was on the map, but now it's bigger and better. And, Cody was just talking about the Dome race in St. Louis. Well, that's probably doesn't happen without streaming. So that's good. But like the weekly shows at Madison, we don't stream them. right, wrong, or indifferent. I'm just not sold that every event needs to be streamed. There's something special about being at the racetrack. So unless the streaming is able to bring, like I think Track TV, which does does all of our Midwest Tour events and does Oktoberfest for us, they have the production quality to give the event the proper coverage. But a lot of weekly streams, it might be one camera up on the roof of the tower, and the track PA is the PA you're listening to. So you're hearing about the hot dog special and 50-50 winner and all those sorts of things. So it was really important to me when we started the stream for the Midwest Tour that the fans in the stands have their announcer, and then the TV has a booth that's covering what's going on. And to that, we've also added, we have 2 Jumbotrons, and we have a mobile bar with TVs. We're trying to bring that, the stream element to our major events so that the fans sitting in the stands can see that replay of Ty Frederickson pounding the wall in turn 3 at Oktoberfest. I mean, there's drone footage and in-car footage and more footage. But if you were at the track, you wouldn't necessarily see that. So we've tried to up our game as promoters and bring the TV to the track side so that people can, be in our grandstands, enjoying our ice cold beer and the hot dogs, but get the full experience that maybe they weren't getting before. So I think there's a lot of good with it. Obviously on cold, rainy nights, it's kind of a tough deal when that race is streamed, because some of the streaming models aren't good for a guy like me that relies on tickets to make a living. And so I sell tickets for a living first and foremost. And some of those streams, there's not much return on them for a guy in my shoes. So it's remains to be seen, but I think we can use that coverage to our advantage moving forward.
Now, we just got a couple minutes left, and I don't know how much. I'm sure a lot of your schedule at both Angel Park and Madison are done. But anything special you want to announce tonight that folks should look forward to at either one of the facilities in 2026?
Yeah, it looks like so Midwest Tour will start our Madison season with the Joe Shear Classic. That's the first Sunday in May, which is May 3rd in 2026. We're finalizing everything for a Return of the World of Outlaws, so that'll come out when their schedule is released. But they will be at Angel Park again this year. So it got rained out last year, and it got ran in the cold of October. So hopefully we can run it in June this year. And then we are USAC National Midgets will be back for the Firemen's Nationals on Labor Day weekend. Midwest Tour schedule should be out really soon. The ASA Stars National Tour is back at Madison. Big 8 Series is at Madison twice. We also have the Arca Menard Series is there on Friday, August 28th. So a lot of big events at Madison. Angel Park schedule, we have 3 IRA 410 shows, the World of Outlaws show, USAC National Midgets, Badger Midgets every week. It was cool. I went out to Ventura for the Turkey Night Grand Prix, and people didn't know who I was, and we're sitting around the campfire on the beach having a beer, and the guys across the campfire were talking about Badger Midgets being the best thing in the nation. And it's hard to argue what Quinn and Amy have done there with Badger. It's great to have the car count we have, but the competition level's awesome. Those guys just rip around Angel Park. So a lot of fun to see. And then obviously we have a lot going on at lacrosse too, between the weekly racing. We just Jacob Gady won the NASCAR National Championship for his second time. He's our champion up there at lacrosse. So that's really cool to have a national champion come out of our lacrosse track. And Oktoberfest wraps it all up October 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th with the 200-lap ASA Midwest Tour Championship event on Sunday afternoon. So it's action-packed. Every week we got something that's that people want to see. I always say I'm a race fan first. I absolutely love racing. I've been to 251 racetracks to witness racing, and it's in my blood. And I'm lucky enough to book the shows I want to see at the racetracks I'm involved in, and look forward to 2026.
There you go. Well, that's definitely, you're definitely right. I mean, once you get into it, you ain't getting out of it. And you're going to be sticking around for a while. Now, I asked Cody how young people should do, or people of any age should do if they want to work at a racetrack. If they want to work at one of your tracks or with one of your series, do you always keep a resume file, even if you got spots filled, or are you looking for people for 2026?
Yeah, there's people that are willing and able. If we don't have a spot, we'll try to help them find a spot, or we'll even just bring them on to train and learn. So, it's it doesn't pay a whole lot. There's a lot of long hours, but there's no better people than those in short track racing. It's a great experience. So I encourage anyone that's watching to reach out to your local track and see how they can lend a hand. And there's always something to be done. There's no shortage of work.
That's for sure. Well, again, Greg, I'm glad we were able to get you on here again, and congratulations on last weekend. Didn't get to see. I saw footage of the parade later on Facebook, and saw you and Angie in that convertible. Did they actually keep that top down? I hope it didn't start raining on you guys.
It was. So it rained on our parade.
Oh, well, that's okay. Better it happened on a parade than on a race day, right?
Amen. Amen.
Well, again, I appreciate you coming on. I'm always going to be indebted to your family, your mom and dad, great supporters of mine over the years, and it means a lot, buddy. So the best of holidays to you, Angie, and your family, and I'm sure we're going to see you at the races in 2026.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot, and we'll have a great Christmas, and looking forward to another great season on tap.
Thank you, Greg. Take care. God bless. Bye-bye. And that's going to wrap it up for 2025. Want to thank all of my guests. I want to thank all of our marketing partners that got us on the air. Thank my wife, Kathy. Thank our cats that are running around here someplace. And just thanks to you, the viewers out there, and the people that keep us on the air. So we, as I mentioned, we are going to take it off now till probably end of March, 1st of April, unless we see a need to have a special show. If we do, we'll let you know that. So until next time, this is Mike Babicz wishing you a pleasant evening, the best of tomorrows. Remember, kids, just say no to drugs. Thanks. Good night. God bless. And until 2026, let's go racing.